I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. My name is Pioneer, and this is another in our series around the NBA. Today we've got a very, very special show lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. We got some special guests, all first timers to our platform, first time to the I Am Sure platform, and also first time to the Around the NBA podcast platform. Today, we got, ladies and gentlemen, a man who I respect his basketball acumen a lot, a man who we have discussed basketball a lot. We got the man, SSP Steve McGregor, in-house with us. SSP.
Respect, bro. Respect.
Joining us today, Voice. We might see his face later on, ladies and gentlemen. Also have another man who is no stranger to talk radio in Jamaica. Actually, he's the host of the popular KLA show called Sports Desk. We've got the man, Zidane Matthews, joining us today also.
Yeah, man. Blessings. Good afternoon to the viewers. Good afternoon, Pioneer.
And in a little while, we should also be joined by my good friend.
So you know, hear me, Zidane, you hear me too.
Good afternoon, Miss SSP, Mr. SSP, my brother. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, we should be joined in a little while also by my good friend. And I'm another man whose voice is no stranger to talk show radio in Jamaica. We should be joined from way up north by the man, National. So National will be with us in a little while. Gentlemen, welcome to I Am Sure Sports and welcome to Around the NBA. Both these gentlemen, people I must say, are avid basketball fans. People who have discussed basketball with over the years. Zidane and I have had our battles on radio, on air, regarding matters regarding basketball. So today, let's just get the basketball discussions going. Gentlemen, I've already sent you some talking points, but of note was a game last night that I watched. I didn't include these in the talking points. A game between the Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks. I don't know if any of you gentlemen actually watched that game. I love to you give me your feedback. Very interesting game, very interesting end. Let's start with you, SSP. Did you see
No,
the game last night?
I didn't get to see that one, but I saw the results. And the first thing I would say is that probably the full team from Suns didn't start, or they didn't put out as much as we all know that they can. But I must hasten to say, I did not watch a game. New York, I've been playing the last couple of games quite well. They beat another team 2 days ago in a good way. I don't think they're going anywhere as it relates to the end of the season, but they have some good games in them.
Definitely. All right, let me help you out with that. So, the Phoenix Suns, they are without their two stars, the backcourt. Chris Paul is out with a broken finger, and Devin Booker has been out for the last 2 games with nursing a minor injury.
Well, there you go.
But a very formidable team, even without their 2 stars. Zidane, did you happen to see the game last night?
Yeah, man, I saw the game, most of the game, and the fact that they were out, I think that's the reason, one of the reasons why the New York Knicks was so in it in terms of having an opportunity to win in the end. It took a shot, not the greatest of shots, but it went off the back glass and went in the end, and Phoenix got the late win. But it was an exciting game right down to the end. But when you look at how much points Phoenix got without Chris Paul, who runs the offense, and Devin Booker was their main scorer, it shows what a potent team this Phoenix Suns is.
Definitely. People like Cam Johnson, people like Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges coming up big. Everybody says, most basketball pundits say that Phoenix is actually the best team in basketball. And there's very little you can say to disagree with that. A team that is minus their 2 stars, they are 8 game atop of the league, 8 game atop of the West, and looking good for the playoff. They are in rhythm, they have continuity, they have cohesion, and trust me, in the playoffs, it's gonna be difficult to see anybody knocking them off. But gentlemen, we're gonna go to the discussions which have been making the airwaves. And we're going to start with the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, I know both of these gentlemen have strong views on the Lakers. The Lakers continue to struggle. They lost again. Now they are now 7 games under 500, barely holding on to the 9th spot in the West, looking as if there's a possibility that they could miss the play-in. And the questions keep arising. Who is responsible for the Lakers' struggle? For the Lakers' struggles? Zidane, I'm going to ask you first, my brethren. Give me your feedback on what is happening with the Lakers and tell me who do you think is responsible for the Lakers' struggles?
Well, I don't think it's any one person or any one reason. I think you have to percentage it around, if I could say it so. So I think definitely 60% of what is happening to the Lakers must be given to the decisions that they made in the offseason. They traded away a lot of key pieces, key defenders. While there were no superstars in that trade, when collectively those players were performing better than the main player who they got from that trade. Mm-hmm. So from the get-go, that was a huge mistake in hindsight, because even though we know Westbrook is not the most efficient player, he was a superstar for many, many years, and he's one of the greatest point guards we ever see. So perhaps you could understand them thinking that it could have worked, even though the percentage was never high, because in terms of the fit, because LeBron James is a ball-dominant player, LeBron James is a streaky shooter, and you always would want shooters around the Westbrook. So it was always a big risk. So I think that was the main reason why they are at where they are now. I think 60% must be given to that. However, the thing is that you can't pinpoint exactly who is to be blamed in that regard, because persons are said LeBron James and Anthony Davis had a say, but they also said Rappalinka was also a part of that. So it wasn't any one person. So we are yet to hear who the main person was that say yes, we're going with Russell Westbrook, because my understanding is that DeMar DeRozan wanted to go to LA. He spoke about playing in LA. The Los Angeles Lakers organization only wanted to give him a 2-year contract. He wanted more years.
3 years.
So he wanted a longer contract. And I think that's what that deal got derailed. Persons were talking about Buddy Hield, but I'm understanding that again, that LeBron James would prefer somebody who could just dominate the game as a scorer on his own, so he could get nights off, days off, minutes off during games, so he could perhaps help out better on the defense. So LeBron James was not keen on Buddy Hield from the Sacramento Kings, and I understand why. So I think the main aspect of it is what they did in the offseason, and you have to talk about LeBron James, Rob Pelinka, Anthony Davis. I don't know who was the main ones who decided that, listen, we're going to get Russell Westbrook and double down on it. So it's all about who was the main protagonist in that regard.
From all we have heard, Zidane, it seems like the move was initiated by LeBron James. He got Anthony Davis to rubber stamp the move, and then they took it to the front office. And I mean, with the cachet of both LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you would think that the Lakers front office would be hard to deny, a request from both their superstars. So I just want to give some clarity on that.
Yeah,
SSP, we're going to ask you, give me your views on what is happening with the Lakers, and tell me where you think the blame should lie with what they're going through right now.
Well, firstly, let me preface my arguments with the fact that LeBron James, for me, is the greatest basketball player ever. Off the field, on the field, wherever on the field.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He is the man for me in basketball. Jordan was good. Well, Jordan is the one that brought me into basketball. But I'm telling you, LeBron is something else. He has taken it to another level. And because of that influence, it has come back to bite him somewhat. I know that he was the main, and I'm telling you that I know, man behind Westbrook coming to LA. So he must take the majority of the blame. He brought KD in on and AD in on the deal, and that was the clincher. Now, when they were thinking about it, you have 5 possible or probably signing all of famous in their lineup, LeBron James, Westbrook, KD, Howard, and Carmelo. So they were thinking, in my view, that they were putting together a good thing prior to, and as Zidane said, in hindsight, it turned out not to be so, because the youngster there that could have gone there, that the managers want, DeRozan, is now looking like one of the contenders for MVP for the whole thing this year. So I think that LeBron should take most of the blame. And we have always been talking about Russell Westbrook. He's just not good enough. I heard Zidane talking about one of the greatest point guard. I don't know where him get that from, because I don't put anything relating to greatness to Russell Westbrook. He's a very energetic, likable player, but he's just not cutting it. He cannot shoot a jumper to save his life. And with these triple-double, when Oscar was doing it, nobody had it in on any stats. He was doing it not knowing that he was making up the stats. The triple-double stats came in 79, 80, People were doing it, but they just started to record it.
And compile it. It became a big thing afterwards, yeah.
Yes, in 79, 80. And at that time, especially the defensive rebound, people start to leave the defensive rebound to the people who are going after triple-double. Because, defensive rebound is when they make a long three-pointer from the other side.
It's an easier rebound to catch.
Yeah, them just leave it. And if you check out majority of these triple-doubles that Westbrook and the others have, it is made up of defensive rebounds. So it's not a stat that I read much into. So when I tell people that Westbrook is not as good as they say, I use this to show them. You know what I mean? And it's not that I don't like him. People were even pitting him up against Draymond Green. But putting in these two players in a winning side, you find place for Draymond Green every day and twice on Sunday. You see how Warriors missing him now? Because there's a place for him in a winning team. There's no place for Westbrook on a contender team, man. But I feel LeBron should take most of the blame, because I think that he was the one that pushed the decision, and it worked against him. That happens in business. All of us will make some bad choice sometime, but I think LeBron has most to take.
All right, so give thanks for that. Welcome National to the podcast. Welcome, my Virgin National. Jamaica has not heard from you in a while, my Virgin. I don't think Jamaica has ever seen you live. Well, I stand corrected. You're on a World Cup show I remember watching on the television. I think it was the last World Cup. So welcome forwards and good to have you on I Am Sure Sports and good to have you on Around the NBA. All right, I'm going to give you a chance, National, to respond to the question that we asked. But I also want to say a few things about what SSP just said and Zidane just said. Zidane, I vehemently disagree with you about Westbrook being one of the best point guards of all time. Actually, Russell Westbrook would struggle to make my top 15 greatest point guard of all time. Soup said it well when he spoke about the comparisons between himself and Draymond Green. Our battle Zidane with this conversation is kind of well known and legendary on radio. I was bashed, beaten, and ridiculed for even suggesting that Draymond Green holistically and the sum total of what he did made him a better player than Westbrook. I have said this season that it, and persons, when KD, Clay, and Steph went out, persons pointed to that as Draymond being exposed. Draymond played 12 games in that season. A lot of people don't even know that. He had 2 good games, 10 bad games, with a cast that was brand new, fresh, rookies and scrapsies. All right, so the Warriors weren't going anywhere to begin with. However, this year, it has taken Westbrook playing on a very good team to expose him, to show that he's incapable of playing winning basketball. So those points, we can't ignore them. They go without saying. We are seeing who Russell Westbrook is. Ironically, he's averaging the same points as his career, same shooting percentage, same amount of turnovers, which is the Achilles heel, which he's always displaying, turning over the basketball, giving it away, costing his team. I remember you and I, Zidane, having a conversation when he was at the Thunders. And one of the things you said he was probably the person who was costing his team games. And I think that was in the playoff series versus the Utah Jazz, which they lost 4-2. National, welcome, brethren. We're talking about the
Can I respond to some of what you all said?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, man. Let's give some fun.
Zidane. Zidane Matthews is?
Zidane Matthews. His screen a little blurry, but
you know, but forget to take the Thailand and low. General, that you really say ago? Yeah, that's how much
hold on, National. Let me say I want to respond to something I say. So
okay.
let's give him a chance to respond and then you'll make a chime in. All right. Go ahead, Zidane.
All right. So remember, we're looking at Russell Westbrook now. And we're talking about what he's doing now and the impact he has had on the Lakers. And you talk about the numbers, he's doing the same things, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can remember, Russell Westbrook would have played on a far lesser team than this Los Angeles Lakers team, and they got to the playoffs. Him being the main man. If that is true, then you cannot put all the blame on Russell Westbrook for the Lakers' deficiencies, because he would have played with lesser talent. No LeBron James, no Anthony Davis, no Kevin Durant. That team, when Kevin Durant left him, he took that team to the 6th seed in the stacked Western Conference. That was amazing. He was both MVP.
Nobody's saying that. No, hold on. Just something we just said. Nobody here has said that we are blaming Westbrook entirely. We are giving him all the blame for the Lakers.
No, but he cannot be the main.
That he has been exposed.
No, man, he's not being exposed because
good.
No, he would have shown in the past that he is good enough to bring a mediocre team to the playoffs with lesser talent.
Can I respond to that? No, respond.
That is what brought him to the Lakers, and he's not showing it now.
Hold on.
Yeah, because he's older now.
Zidane, just give me 1 second. Let me respond to that point you just made. That team you made mention of. I want you to remember that very team, everybody on that team, except Kevin Durant, had gone to the Western Conference Final with Golden State the year before, and was actually leading Golden State 3-1. So that team was
you're helping my case. Russell Westbrook.
Hold on, my brethren. But let me state the most critical point that you're leaving out. That team, holistically, was the very team that Westbrook was leading the year. Durant left, but something of keynote that persons keep forgetting. That Durant was replaced by Victor Oladipo, who in that season averaged 18 points for the Oklahoma City Thunders. So that wasn't a team that was devoid of talent, and Westbrook was the main man carrying the team. That is the narrative that is being pushed. But that was not really the case. He was the front runner, he was the leader, but he wasn't the only man that was carrying the team.
But there were no LeBron James there. So LeBron James averaging 28 points now, and the Lakers are struggling to even make the top 10 in the Western Conference. Russell Westbrook took lesser players. That's a reality.
That is what is showing of Westbrook now.
But hold on, SSP. Hold on, man. Let me finish the point. Russell Westbrook, as you mentioned, Pioneer, was the second best player on a team that went to the Western Conference Finals and led 3-1. And guess who was the main reason why they lost that 3-1? Kevin Durant.
I don't agree.
Russell Westbrook was also the second best player on a team that came out of the Western Conference went to the NBA Finals. So Russell Westbrook has proven that he can be the main player or the second main player on a successful team. So
all the people are talking about
not many point guards in league history
grown except Russell Westbrook. Everybody else, KD is going from levels to level, and Westbrook is old. So don't talk about him older. He's still a young player. He's just in it.
He's an MVP. It's not easy to win MVP in this league, so to dismiss him as not one of the greatest point guard of all time, I don't think it's logical.
The MVP Zidane was only because of the triple-double. And I'll hasten to say, Zidane, that the Oklahoma City Thunders, the year when they went to the final, Westbrook was good, not great. It was good. In the season that they lost, the 3-1 lead to Golden State, you're putting the blame at the feet of Russell Westbrook. I'd hasten to show you that. Go and look at it.
We're not talking no more about Russell Westbrook. Give no word if we're talking about that. Let's
give National a chance to chime in on the whole discussion. National, I'm giving you 3 minutes back uninterrupted. So let me chime in on the discussion.
Let me say this. I'm not going to comment on Zidane saying that Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest point guard ever played the game.
Yeah.
Because even Zidane knows that he might try to be controversial. See? So Russell Westbrook is not that person. He's not in the conversation. However, when I agree with Zidane with is that Russell Westbrook is a good enough player. I think what Russell Westbrook has fallen upon is this. He doesn't know his role. He believes that whatever team he's in, he's the guy. And that's a problem. It's not that he's not good. And that reminds me, of the fact that it's like me to compare Russell Westbrook as somebody who's just coming into the league. Full of only pizzas and all of them things. But how now you're going to use that to benefit the team where you play upon? Him still not grasp that concept. LeBron made I mean I got blame Russell Westbrook for LA Lakers demise, Me lay that square like LeBron James foot. Because anything at LA Lakers or any big team, it have to come through the big player there. Them have to know and them have to sanction it. Yeah? Let anybody come there to begin with. So the main fact means Russell Westbrook down there, being who he is, right? This man about 32 now?
32, yeah.
All right. So me not talk about one youngster who just come in, We see where he cut up, we see the cloth him cut up, and we see the direction where my head in. So for me, so well, never take him and believe that me can train him and coax him at this stage of career. We say, well then, boss, you have all of the things them already in, but here what more you do. No, say, I know you are the boss. No, say, just easy. A lot of people, Kevin Durant my basketballer. See? And a lot of people want to give Kevin Durant a only pass stick to say, boy, oh, you left the man, I left the man. Look here, if you really and truly that really want Kevin Durant to still there, OKC with Russell Westbrook. Let me just name out quickly the team that when them did have done at OKC. You have Ibaka, you have Jackson, you have
Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. You have Perkins. Perkins is down there one at a time.
Kendrick Perkins.
You have KD. You have Bearded one.
Harden,
Look here. You have a team in general. Down there we're capable for winning up. But only because to me, the man is way too erratic and him can't cool. Him can't. He say any day, him can grasp everything and say, no, I'm going to just mold my game to suit the team. Then you see the real Russell Westbrook. Don't watch the figures because him explosive enough and good enough to get that. But
the Lakers are going to bring him off of the bench now. Lakers are going to bring him off of the bench now.
They have no choice. They have no choice. So
they want to bring him off the bench.
No, because him hurting the team. He's hurting the team. But it's not that he's not good. He's not good to be mentioned in the top whatever. But he's good enough only if them can use what he has to benefit the team. Because him have a lot to offer. 32-year-old, is him looking explosive, all of them things there. And if him get a better jump shot. But you can't tell him that because in his head, he is the man.
Still, and at the Lakers. I think the big, and we'll close by saying this. I think the problem with Westbrook is his turnovers. You use the right word, national, erratic. Erratic is the word that describes Westbrook. He turns over the ball a lot. He averages 5 turnovers in his career. And there are nights when he turns over the ball 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And
makes bad decisions. Poor decisions.
Poor
you can't call a point guard will make them poor decisions the great.
One of the
so
greatest.
These are to take back that foolishness. The point guard is like the quarterback for the team. You must make good decisions, and him not capable of that. It's clear. Can't be great.
Well, all right. We're going to close on the Lakers stuff, gentlemen. Bye. Go ahead, National.
Yeah, let me say something. If you look at the greats, where point guard is concerned, and how them play the game, it is played at a pace where the man them literally control the game. The man them pull the string. That's absolutely the opposite of who Russell Westbrook is. Russell Westbrook is
my final point. Russell Westbrook has been voted by a credible source as one of the 75 greatest players in NBA history. And he's a point guard.
Or triple-double.
He's rated as one of the greatest point guards in history. So a credible source, was been carrying basketball to the world for many, many years agrees with me that Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest point guards.
That's a vote, Zidane. That was a panel of voters who
vote by credible people who have been following the game for many, many years.
You have long heard me say, and
he got nothing for being a point guard.
I've argued this for. I've long argued this, Zidane. You and I have had many a discussion. I've said, and this has been my exact word. Russell Westbrook has bamboozled the world with a triple-double stat. As SSP said before, when Oscar did it, nobody was checking it. When Russell Westbrook found out that this triple-double was a big thing to the world, he went out of his way, season after season after season, to average a triple-double, even if it came at the detriment of his team losing games. So let's end the Westbrook talk. I want to ask you, gentlemen, quickly, just tell me, how far do you think the Lakers realistically can go this season? We're going to start with you, Zidane. Realistically, tell me how far you think the Lakers can go this season.
Well, that is dependent on Anthony Davis coming back in good shape and does not get injured for the rest of the season. Still a really good defender, still a fantastic offensive player, very talented. So if he comes back, I think they can beat the number 10th or the 9th seed and also the 7th or the 8th seed. That in terms of who are there. No, I think they can beat both of them and get into the playoffs.
So let's say the playoffs started today. You think they can beat the Pelicans?
Yes, I think. No, not today. Not today.
No, man.
Anthony Davis is not
Anthony Davis comes back healthy.
I think they can, and I think they would beat the Pelicans.
All right,
and also
the 7th, the 6th, the 7th, and 8th seed now would be the Clippers versus the Timberwolves.
And I think they have a chance.
If they won the 9th-10th matchup, they will be playing the loser of the 7th-8th matchup, which would be either the Clippers or the Timberwolves. You see them
an intense high pressure game. Mm-hmm. I'm giving them the edge again. It's gonna be tough. So I'm thinking they actually can make the playoffs.
So you're seeing them in the playoffs, and then from there would be the 8th seed. And
if Chris Paul, I remember last season, Lakers were leading 2-1 against this team that went to the finals, the Phoenix Suns, and Anthony Davis went down, and obviously Phoenix went on to win the series. So I believe that without Chris Paul, let's see how his injury goes on. I think they actually could upset the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs. So we might have a big turnaround from where we are right now in terms of the Lakers, actually.
All right, Zidane, that is your views. And I'm not, as a matter of fact, that was a surprise to me. I'm going to go directly to your SSP. Tell me what you think of the importance of the Lakers.
I don't know what Zidane is smoking still, but I heard him on the show, and he was close to that and saying that, the Lakers will beat Pelicans who go over them house and embarrass them to the ground. The Clippers is the best team in that mix-up. None of these teams will beat Clippers. especially the pieces that they have to come back.
Yes.
I think they're a shoo-in right there. So Lakers cannot. I will categorically say, if Lakers make it through and get to play Clippers, they will probably get fooled. So Lakers, the best thing for Lakers is to get knocked out in the playing so they don't get further embarrassed and go back to the drawing board and get a good side for next year. This side won't cut it. It is clear that they won't cut it. There are too much issues, and I'm fearing that LeBron is going to get injured because of how hard he's playing. The man carry the side on him back. You understand? And oh, you see how much of them I get turn ankle and them something there. It is like the thing that is coming in so much now. The way he's playing, man, and at his age, I just fear that he won't get injured because he have to be playing too hard for this side. He should not be the leader for the side, playing wise that is,
Yeah.
It should have been AD or Westbrook now taking that front line. And him have to do it still. It just don't make no sense.
Should be playing the supporting role.
Exactly. That's what he should be doing at his age now.
All right, National, give me your views. How far you see the Los Angeles Lakers going? Based on where their position now and what you see happening for the rest of the season.
I'm not gonna say eye to eye with SSP on this one, in that in totally right them have not coming through the plane. You understand? Me believe say anybody once in that vicinity, that it simply means that we're not touching distance between in terms of qualities.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? I say so if KD come if AD come back and the Clippers people them come back and it's a toss up. However, let's say them come 8. That's it. Them now come out of the first round. Because when you see Phoenix Suns are going with is and last year being to the final last year, it's just a pipe opener for this season. It's a crazy. I look at the game last night with them and Knicks, and Booker wasn't there, Chris Paul wasn't there, and them came back from maybe about as far as about 16, 18 points and still deliver the goods. Now, this is a team will look like they mean serious business. And if LA Lakers want to go far in a this tournament, them try not to come 7th or 8th or anywhere in them look at this because them can't beat Warriors either. Them have to come somewhere like 6. And then maybe them can go second round. But that's as far as we can see them go. We can't really see them go.
I want to welcome everybody that is in the stream. I want to welcome my virgin Kems. I want to welcome Oral Tracy Maverick. Welcome. I want to welcome Eddie Guna. All right. I want to welcome Jermaine E. Campbell. Welcome all to the gentlemen in the stream and the viewers. I see Oral Tracy Maverick saying Russell Westbrook's so-called greatness is a statistical illusion. He said that on here is my virgin, and I endorse it.
And I endorse it 100%.
I want to give my views on where I see the Lakers going. All right. From all indications, Anthony Davis is out for another 2 to 3 weeks. In those 2 to 3 weeks, you're looking at possibly another 10, 12 games. As it stands now, the Lakers are half a game ahead of the Pelicans in the ninth spot. So the Pelicans, if the Lakers lose tonight to the Golden State Warriors, the Pelicans will jump over them into the 9th spot, and they will go to the 10th spot. The schedule for the Lakers is a bloody one. All right, outside of the Houston Rockets, they have absolutely no easy games left to play. They have the Toronto Raptors to play a couple of times home and away, and Toronto is still trying to make that play-in push. So Toronto will be playing hard basketball. Outside of that, all the other teams that see them playing, they have very little chance of beating. For me, the problem with the Lakers is that they can't defend any of these teams. They cannot defend on the perimeter, and without Anthony Davis, they struggle to defend in the paint and at the rim. Playing against the Lakers, it's like a layup line. There are teams that have said, and coaches and coaching staff, that when you're playing the Lakers, you get whatever shot you want. So teams will pass up on a great shot to get a better than great shot. So it is not on the offensive end. LeBron James is scoring. They are putting up the numbers, but they struggle to defend against any team of merit. I see them playing even a team like the Houston Rockets, we just mentioned. They're going to have problems with people like Jalen Green, who are fleet-footed and fast and vibrant. So I can't see the Lakers. As a matter of fact, I say it's a 50-50 chance for them now to even make it into the plane. That's how I view it. Based on everything that I see and the schedule that I see them having, it's a 50-50 shot now that the Lakers are going to actually even make the plane. If they do make the plane, and let me go with Zidane. So let's say they could knock out the Pelicans, which I'm going to find hard to do, because the Pelicans have gotten CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. They're playing some great basketball. They waxed the Utah Jazz last night. I don't know if you're watching the games, Zidane, but the Pelicans are playing good basketball right now. So let's say they even get past the Pelicans. I cannot see them beating either Minnesota Timberwolves, even with a fit Anthony Davis. Minnesota Timberwolves are the Clippers. The Clippers have had their number for the last 2 seasons, and I think if they're meeting the plane, the Clippers are going to continue to have their numbers. Gentlemen, let's move on. Move away from the West, move away from LA, and let's look at the East. When the season started and I saw how the East was shaping up, I dubbed the East as a blood sport. The teams in the East, they are adjusting for position. They are playing hard. I remember when the season just started, teams like the Pacers and the Knicks and the Wizards were high in the standings in the East. And those teams are fading into obscurity right now. They are all out of the playoff and playing picture. All right, I have what I call a big 4 in the East: Miami, Bucks, Nets, even though they are in 8th, and the Philadelphia 76ers. There are some good teams like the Boston Celtics and the Chicago Bulls. Gentlemen, the question I'm asking, who are the beasts in the East? Who do we see coming out of the East? And how do we see going into the playoffs and in the playoffs itself? We'll start with you, SSP.
All right. Yeah, the East has taken over from what the West used to be this year. And I agree with the top 4, yeah, because there are some pretenders, even those that are leading the standings now, like Miami and Chicago. I don't think they can go all the way. They are looking good in regular season matches, but when it comes to playoff, they are going to wilt. So it's going to be left to the Bucks, Sixers, Nets, and who will leave out? 4 of them. You know what I mean?
Well, I have Miami. You see, I leave out Miami. You see, I leave out Miami and Chicago.
Yeah.
And I mentioned
so what is the scary part about it, is nobody going to be hustling to finish first. Because guess what? If they finish first in the East, guess who they might end up with?
The Nets. Yeah.
The Nets. And the Nets can beat any of them that will finish on the top there. So it is going to be really tricky. Even though the Nets is at 8, and I'll confess, the Nets is still my team to win it, the whole thing, because I have some money on them at a very good odds. You know what I mean? And I think when all the pieces come together with the second string, the bench players that they are going to be really scary if they get all the pieces together. And also if they get that issue with big player there, with Kyrie. If they get that thing settled with Kyrie, where he can play at home, which I suspect it is going to happen, because most of the matches that they have will start away. So that is the good thing for them. So, I still think that the Nets is right up there with any of the team. But the action will be over the East, man. This is going to be something to pay money for, to see the Bucks against the Sixers, to see the Nets against the Bucks and all of that. Because the Greek Freak is at his best. I used to criticize him for how much they used to catch him with the charging play, but he improves every year. He's a decent player, the man. You just have to like him. He's now shooting the 3, which I don't think he should try, but he's even getting more proficient at that. He has fixed up his free throw shooting. He's just right there, and his team is gelling for him. You get 100% from him every time he sets foot on the court. So the East, it is mouth-watering to think of the matchups that we're going to get over the East right now.
Zidane, I'm going to go to you next. I'm going to leave you national, forgive you, the best part of the thing. Zidane, how you see the East going, Virgin?
Yes,
the blood sport.
It's gonna be definitely exciting. It should be. I'm gonna half agree with SSP McGregor about the 2 teams, the Heat and the Bulls. He's wrong about the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat will be a team to beat in that Eastern Conference. They are very good defensively. I think they have one of the best coaches in basketball right now. Jimmy Butler would have proven himself in the past in playoffs to perform in big games. They went to the NBA Finals in the bubble 2 years ago, so they would have had that sort of experience, even though it's different, but they would have been able to do so. They are good shooters, so I think they are a very good team. They lapsed a couple of nights ago against the Milwaukee Bucks, blowing a 14-point lead late. So I think they are a quality team and they can give problems to any team in the Eastern Conference. The Chicago Bulls, I think they are fake. If you look at the record, they have not beaten any of the top 4 teams in the East and any of the top 3 teams in the West.
Mm-hmm.
So it is suggesting they are struggling against elite opponents. So
there are some pieces missing, Zidane.
Good. I was going to get to that. I'm going to say, to be fair to them, though, they would have been some of their key players would have been missing. So that we'll talk about now. Chemistry and Kamaja are playing together throughout the season. So while they are talented, I don't think they will be seriously challenging any of the teams, the elite teams. With the Nets now, I'm not sure where Ben Simmons' mindset will be. But if he's right, he's the perfect fit for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. He doesn't want to shoot. He really wants to pass great openings for them. And they are both players who like to attack and stay in beast mode. So he's the perfect and he's an excellent defender. If he's back, I think they will finish 7th actually because they are in 8th now. They would stay in 8th, play 8 and 7. They would win that game and be 7th seed. So I think the 2nd seed would be in trouble against that Nets team. But I agree, most of what SSP Maghreb, except for that Miami, can't challenge anybody in seriously in the East.
National, give me your views. I know Kevin Durant is your player. Tell me, you see the East panning on my bridge.
No, I definitely have to start here because of this action, it really rubbed me the wrong way. In that my team is in a position right now because of some Kyrie Irving issues where he's not being vaccinated, so he's not allowed to play. Whilst the opponent, when we faces them, it doesn't matter if their players are unvaccinated, they play. And I can't see through that. I can't see the rationale through that, right? As to why Kyrie can't play if he's not vaccinated. And his opponent playing in the Nets can play being unvaccinated. It doesn't spell sense to me.
A lot of persons have come out against that.
However, we are in 7th place. Maybe 8
right now.
Yeah.
2.5 games out of the 7th spot.
We are in 8. A very
Toronto is sitting in 7th.
Brittle position to be in. So, all right. Let's say everybody have everybody. Let's speak that way. So Kyrie is able to play every game.
Mm-hmm.
I think whosoever get, because obviously how things are now, it seems as if it would be 1 or 2 or even 3. Anybody will get who gets Nets, it's going to be a mouth-watering first round. All right. But I tend to agree with SSP in that there are always some pretenders. Always. I see basketball too much to know so well then. You have some people where some teams are come blow some storm, and when the time comes, they are just there for the spice. We see it with the Utah Jazz. We see it. That's how it goes annually. We have them team there. See? And I do believe that whilst I can safely say, yes, Chicago is one such team, I'm kind of tentative not to really want to come out so forthrightly. And so about Miami, because Miami went to the finals a couple of years not so long ago.
In the bubble, yeah.
Yeah, and if you have a team like Miami who have been there and thereabout not so long ago, it means that if you get 2 pieces together and put them together, you can come up chumps. So that is the only
soft, man. National, they're too soft. Look at them soft. Them soft.
But them soft.
You know, they're winning regular season.
National. SSP, I want to remind you that Kyle Lowry, who is a part of the team, has not been playing. Victor, it is being said touted to that Victor Oladipo, who they have acquired about 2 years ago, who has been out injured, should be coming back for the playoffs. So, and then people like PJ Tucker, you mentioned being soft. One of the most gritty players in the league is PJ Tucker, who they have acquired, who have missed a couple of games now. So, in terms of the rough and tough, and I understand what you're saying. Some people make mention of people like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero and say they are soft. But I think they tried to fix that in the offseason by getting people like Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker to add some toughness and some grit to their squad.
So I will not entirely write them off just because they have some level of success in the not so distant past. See? However, Philadelphia 76ers, to me, when I look at Embiid and Harden now, him not have to be the guy. You understand? Him can just be the facilitator. Them have a youth down there by the name of Tyrese Matty.
Mm-hmm.
That youth really play out time skin. That youth have, no, when you look at the team, what them have, you understand me? I say, I really like the looks of this Philadelphia team. And Kevin Durant are my basketballer. My heart there with Nets. I want Nets. I don't want Nets come 70 now. If I feel me, I go play. But I rather play Philly in the finals. But to me, my idea of the finals, the finalists, yeah, is once over the East, once Nets just avoid Philly, it will come down to the Nets and the 76ers. Yeah, and then anyway, we'll go from there. So we'll take it from there.
Drummond is factor for the Nets, the national. Drummond, so leaving him out, he's going to be very critical for the Nets.
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, and you know why? You know why it have a good? You know why it have a good now? Because you have players leaving from both sides. You understand? The thing is, one little thing I never really like. What if I was a 76ers fans? We wouldn't want to lose Curry. If Curry was there, yeah, I don't think you should have let go Curry. And letting go of Curry, it made just still the favor to the Nets. But and I'm not ruling out the defending champions because Giannis, you can't say he's a decent player. Giannis is not a decent player. Giannis is a very
decent is not for his playing. Decent is not for him playing. His personality, you know. Okay, man. I would never call him a decent player, man. I'm talking
I'm glad you clarify. No,
personality. Yeah, he's just a likable person, man. If you notice,
all right. Thanks for the clarity, so yes, and decent is just about his persona.
Yeah.
All right, national. Let me say this. All right. Let me help you out with the Max with the Seth Curry. In the trade, they were asking for one of three players. They were either gonna give up Tyrese Maxey, who you just say you like, Seth Curry, or a bridging name Maurice Thybulle. Thybulle is one of the best defenders in the league right now. I think along with himself and the dude from Suns name. I still remember his name. Bridges. I think they're gonna be in the defensive player of the year conversation with Draymond Green. All right, but so it was either they had to give up one of these three players, Seth Curry, Thybulle, or Maxey. So they chose what they thought was the least of the three. All three good pieces, but they gave up the one that they thought was, givable.
Let me ask you a question quickly though. How much people leave from Philly to Nets?
From Philly,
and how much people leave from Nets?
Three players and two draft picks.
Three and how much leave from Nets? Go the other way.
It was Harden and one other player. Who was the other player?
Yeah, but you have to remember, say Harden are the big dog.
It's a star.
So they had to give up more.
Yeah, man.
Harden was the big dog in the trade,
Yeah, man.
So Sixers must have to give up much more for Harden. You know what I mean? So that was the trade.
All right, gentlemen. And again, I say, I hear all of your views on the East. For me, I label the East as a blood sport. And like you, SSP, I can't wait for the playoff to start because even a team like the Boston Celtics, who everybody is sleeping on right now, and I myself have said, I can't see them doing it. But I've been watching them over the last couple of games that they have played. They have improved vastly on the defensive end, and they're playing some good basketball. I agree with you, SSP, that Drummond is adding something extra for the Nets. If they can get back Ben Simmons in any semblance of good health and good form, what he will bring on the defensive end of the court, paired with a Drummond as a big man at the rim, with people like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge providing some spice, with the shooters that they have surrounded them with Seth Curry, Patty Mills, Goran Dragic, along with KD and Kyrie. That is the most dangerous team in the East. However, as Eddie Guna is saying, you can't count out the defending champions. The champs are the champs. They're the champs for a reason. I see them cruising through the regular season. I see people like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton just playing as if they are saying, listen, we want to avoid injury. We're putting up the numbers. We need to win some games. We need to stay in the playoff hunt, but we're not going full rev. We see Giannis taking pieces off in games. So you can't count a defending champion. The Philadelphia 76ers, everybody is higher. For me, James Harden have to prove it in the playoffs for me. So of all the teams that I'm looking at, I am big on the Nets and the Bucks. And I think that is where, again, the conference final will be decided. But, as I said, the East is a blood sport. Can't wait for we reach that, people. It's going to be a good one. The East this year is going to be where most of the action is at. Gentlemen, we are going to move on a little. And we are going to look at a different topic for discussion right now. Philly. We just mentioned Philly. 4-0 with James Harden. Give me briefly a small, brief synopsis. Zidane, I'll start with you. Tell me how you see them realistically.
Well, as National said, I think in terms of from the outsiders looking on the talent level, I think themselves and the Nets are the two most talented teams overall now in the Eastern Conference. You're talking about James Harden, despite his frailties on some instances in the playoffs. He's one of the best basketball players of all time. That there's no two ways about that. Joel Embiid is playing at one of the highest level that you would see from a center in many, many years. He's just so dominant. He's so difficult to defend. He gets your team into foul trouble. He has mid-range. He kills in the post, and occasionally he cannot run a three-pointer. So it means that pick-and-roll game can work very well for the Philadelphia 76ers. And remember, James Harden is such a great passer that when you set the pick for him, he can drive, and then he can make that on-point pass to any teammate. So it's just it's the perfect fit, and that's exactly why Philadelphia gave up so much. Doc Rivers is one of the best coaches in the NBA. He's getting James Harden. He's looking at who he has in Joel Embiid and the others. You must take that James Harden trade, regardless of who you have to give up, except for Joel. You give up everything except for Joel Embiid. So I think there will be a threat. If the Nets get it right, it's going to be between the Nets, the defending champion, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Philadelphia. But Philadelphia, I think the fit is perfect. You're talking about Russell Westbrook not fitting well with the Lakers at all. This fit, I think, is basically perfect. So I think there will be a real team in this Eastern Conference. And I agree with you both. I can't wait till it all gets underway. It's the first time in years I'm actually looking forward to see what will happen in the East as opposed to the West.
All right, National, you already told us what you think about Philly, but I'll give you another minute just to expound on your views on Philly.
All right. You have two basketballers who, when it comes down to the playoff, I can't tell you, they're just flops. And Harden is one of them. The other one is relatively a young, he has a young career in Ben Simmons. I don't think Ben Simmons is hungry enough, to come and at this time, because I don't know what can happen later on. He's still young. But I just believe that coming to that team with that Doc Rivers at the end, I think Doc Rivers can crack that code, and we might just see the real regular season James Harden even turn it up more in the playoff. And this is why I'm looking at the team. I love the team. The team look good. The team look real solid. And I'm even tempted to say this team, for me, I'm my favorite to win the NBA, to win everything.
All right, my brother.
Good plus well-being.
SSP, give me your
I'll tell you this. Harden is a mature player. He's a very intelligent player. And if he continues to dish off the passes with left and right hand to Embiid, they are going to be dangerous. I heard Embiid in one interview saying he has never gotten so much space in his life. The kind of space that he's getting to make shots with Harden on the court. So he's enjoying it. I'm just hoping that nothing goes wrong with the chemistry that will cause them to fall out, because you know that can go on when the thing gets intense. But I have no doubt that Harden is going to step up. He is as slick as you get them. He moves slowly, but he's going fast. I don't know if you understand. If you watch him, he's very, 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 the man, I love to watch him. Some people don't like him because them say tricky. I have some friends who used to say him draw foul with some tricks and so on. But it's a trick of the trade. And that's how good he is, you know. He's meshing well with Embiid, and it seems as if they are hitting it off the way they are talking and moving with each other. So I think they are going to be good. They are going to be good. It's a very good deal that they got.
All right, National, I want to say something to you about. You mentioned Doc Rivers a while ago. And I have to put some clarity to this. Doc Rivers have come up small in a couple of playoff series in recent times. Both while he was at the Clippers, and we saw it even last year and the year before when he was at the Sixers. There are some people who feel that when the thing get tight, Doc don't know when to call a timeout and don't know what plays to call. So I hear you say something about him cracking the code with Harden. That is where I fear I have my this is where I have the most concerns for the Sixers, is that James Harden, Embiid, and Doc Rivers has shown fickleness. Let me just use a word in tight situations. We have seen James Harden coming up small on more than one occasions in the playoff, and we have seen Joel Embiid fall apart year before last. People blame Ben Simmons for last season, but Joel Embiid took the blame for the season before that in terms of when they lost.
Let me ask that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. The Clippers, after Doc left the Clippers, what happened after that? How far the Clippers went?
They have gone to the conference semifinal. They have had their issues, but not about in terms. We're looking at it from a coaching standpoint, and the seasons that I mentioned, National, you could see glaring coaching errors on the part of Doc Rivers. You can identify that had the coach done something a little different, then it might have been different. So you're having an issue with the earpiece, with the hearing. Your hearing clear? Your hearing was clearly, Soap? SSP, hearing us clearly?
Yeah, I'm hearing it. It's just that my audio went on somewhere. I'm thinking it might be something on my head.
If your phone rang and the audio went down, you can just come out of the stream and come back in, and it will come back up.
It's a bit low.
It's a bit low.
Oh, so you're not hearing me that way?
No, man, I am hearing you clearly, but I should see you putting your ear to the things. I was wondering.
All right, cool.
Let me just say this quickly. You see, it's an unfortunate thing when you're a coach, because it's when the team doesn't come up trump, then everybody turns to the coach. Whereas if them did expect the team to do good. But to me, in hindsight, when we look back on everything, that team just come up short. The team. You understand? Not only the coach. Let's say the coach makes some bad decision or whatever, according to you. But I didn't see any. If you make any, it's not a lot. Because we are all human beings and everybody can make mistakes. Cool? All right. But
no problem.
I've been left there. Seeing?
Yeah.
Clippers don't look like Clippers when he was there. 1, 2. Before he came to Philly never looked like how Philly look now that he's there. Obviously, this man is the common denominator in both scenarios. And him, when he was there, whichever team, them look better.
I want to point out that both teams have failed to win championships, even though they had championship aspiration and expectation.
There's only one championship to be won, and only one team can win it. So guess what? Other good teams are there, and they have lost in the same season too. So I am looking at the man, Doc Rivers. Seeing, I won't bash him, because what I'm seeing he's doing now with this Philly team. Seeing? And what he has done with the Clippers team. Mark you, people have Clippers as a favorite at that time. Only because Kawhi leave and come over. And I'm saying, if Kawhi can do that with Toronto, then he can do this with Clippers and the whole race.
That was the expectation.
And LA have the big, the limelight down there because Lakers never really are going with nothing, so they want something for going or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, I believe this coach is a very good coach. He may not bring it across the line with the Clippers, but looking at what he's doing right now with the 76ers, since he has been there, and now it's a brave move, to go for Harden, Remember, Harden is a noted NBA player flop, Right. And this man go for Harden, and put him in a pool, pan him rasta. See, as a man, we are going to come steer the thing with a mature head like what SSP say. You understand what I say? I hear Joel Embiid talk, and the man say, well, I'm not have to post up again. I'm not have to just post up alone.
Like a kid in a candy store.
The Clippers is one of the outer teams to watch. The West has the sleepers. There are no sleepers over the East.
Hold on, SSP.
That's the 3 teams. Oh, you don't reach there.
No, we're going there next. No, we'll go there next. All right, Zidane, I see Preacher taking a shot at you, Zidane. And I see Preacher taking a shot at you about your comment of Joker being the best offensive center of all times. We'll bring you on another day, Zidane, to defend that comment. I see Preacher saying Embiid better than Joker. Zidane, Preacher said that. All right, so the man is taking a shot, Zidane. The,
Well,
gentlemen,
Embiid is indeed a better player overall because he's a much better defender. But as
all
an
right,
offensive player, give me
Zidane,
Nikola Jokic.
all right, we're going to get to that another day. I'm going to bring you, I promise you, I'm going to bring you another day. So give you a
Yes.
chance to defend that statement. I too disagree with you, but if we get into that, it's going to take us a while. Gentlemen, we have 10 minutes left on the broadcast, but we're going to ask a question of all of you gentlemen. We're looking at the league. We're seeing the picture. We're seeing the teams that are making the moves. We have the big four in the East. We see the top teams in the West. So we know who are the favorites, so to speak. But is there a team that we could see upsetting the whole thing, a dark horse, who could get into this and spoil the whole party? Looking at both the West and the East. I'm going to start with you, SSP, because you were just talking about the Clippers. Is there a team
well,
you could see
I'll start with the
sliding in
East
here?
because there are no sleepers in the East. There are no outsiders. Only one of three teams can come out of the East. Nets, Bucks, Sixers. Nothing
So you give no chance to
else.
the Bulls, the Heats.
Nothing else. One of
No
those
chance to the
three
Bulls, the Heats,
will
are
show up in
the Celtics.
Now in the West, that is where it gets tricky for me. Because as good as Suns is, I think they're them.
You're getting a little, you have gotten a little low.
That I'm watching. One other one to a lesser extent. When you see the Clippers and the Nuggets, when all of their pieces come together, they are contenders for the West.
You said the Clippers and the Nuggets.
The Clippers, in my view,
Yes.
is the biggest dark horse there. Mavericks have a little thing, but they are kind of one-dimensional because, without their big man, but they are playing well. And, it is as a result of the coach, the coach that Lakers throw, but we don't go back to it.
Okay.
That Lakers throw a coach, and the man has do things down at Mavericks there. I think he has even gotten the big player to be playing better than he used. He used to have issues with the free throws and getting that. So
We're having a little issue with the audio, SSP. I'm having a little issue with the audio. I'm not hearing you too clearly, but I heard you say the Clippers and the Nuggets, and I heard what you said about the Dallas Mavericks.
I came out and came back in.
Yeah, man.
It has gone down. So
You're clear.
I'm going to come off camera and see if I can get it on.
All right, no problem. All right, so I'm bringing back Zidane. I think he was having the same issue. Welcome forward, Zidane. Zidane, tell me who you think are the dark horses, both out east, in the East and in the West.
Well, you mentioned the dark horse from the Eastern Conference. When you look at the Boston Celtics, they started off poorly. Persons were calling for the head of the coach in media in America, and they went on a run. Actually, I think they have won 13 of their last 15 games.
Yes, sir.
So that is really good. And when you look at this Boston Celtics team, they potentially have two superstars in them. And once you have two and I said potential because they don't always play like superstars, but we know the potential, and if they can meet that potential, then they could trouble and topple a few of the teams in the Eastern Conference. So for me, they are the dark horses from the Eastern Conference. And we're talking about the Denver Nuggets. Depending on injured players coming back, Nikola Jokic, how he's performing. He didn't perform as well as he could last season in the playoffs. He should do better this season. So I think Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics are dark horses for me in both conferences.
Yeah, National, give me your views now. Dark horses, out East, out West.
To what? Win?
To win.
All right.
Just upset the party, go to the finals, make some noise.
Oh,
Possibly.
but not
The
to
whole
win.
thing.
Not to dark horses. And the NBA. I've been watching NBA for maybe about some 20 years going, almost 25 years going up. And the darkest horse ever won the NBA is, I think it's Toronto Raptors. Yeah, with
I would probably say the Detroit Pistons.
No, man. Detroit. Look, in hindsight, at that time when we don't watch it, in hindsight, after everything, Mr. Detroit was a very decent team. Deshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace, Rashid. Look here, that team they did good.
But not only that, National, Toronto was an expansion team. They were very new in the season. So I agree with National. That was the biggest upset, man. They were expansion.
That in hindsight, Mona said Detroit was a dark horse. Maybe at the time, given what was happening, why we never give them enough chance or whatever. Yeah, but looking back at the team, it was a big team. No, as Mona said, dark horses never normally win the NBA. Yeah, they are there.
Toronto when they won had a top 5 player.
They had a top 2 player, if you ask me, at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It was probably the best or the second.
Yeah, man. But as a franchise, as a team, nobody expected them to. I understand what you guys are saying about the individual player. But as an organization and all that, they really upset the apple cart.
I give it that.
So looking at all the so-called outsiders, maybe Dallas. If you want to look at Dallas as an outsider, and maybe Grizz. I love that Jamaran. That kid is look
nobody mentioned the Grizzlies yet.
No, you see, and this is what I try to show, man. When you look at Jamaran,
they're not deep enough.
No, they're not deep enough.
I disagree.
Guess what? But they're not deep enough. But I think the last time we look, I think it's third. They are a third, right?
Third.
Over the West.
Half a game behind.
Being not deep enough, Being not deep enough. So if I was the one of it for that team, I would have looked seriously and said, well, then where we can go get some help to help this youth. Because if you not, and that is exactly why we can't really even put them in the argument to say, well, then they're not going to give the top 2 any problem at all because they don't have the depth. You understand what I say? But to win it, nah, and to a lesser extent the Jazz, because the Jazz did go on with some things last year, but I can't say nobody topple the big 6, so to speak, the 2 over the West and the 4 over the East. I don't say nobody can spoil this party. This party gonna be the dance I keep. So we'll see it go.
My game of views, gentlemen. And so SSP, I want to disagree about the Grizzlies.
No, man, they're clearly not deep enough. They don't have additional shooters, consistent shooters to back up Ja. It is clear.
I go out on a limb and tell that they're a poor shooting team. Their best shooter is out, which is Dylan Brooks. However, they are first in a number of categories. They are first in fast break points. They have Steven Adams. They are first in offensive rebounds. These are things that count during the playoff. They're a young team. They're a fearless team. They play as if they have no superiors in the league. Ja Morant had 10 games in which he was out. He missed 12 total games for the season. He had a 10-game stretch in which he was out. They won 8 of those 10 games. After those 10 games, Dylan Brooks also missed 3 of those 10 games. And they also won those games without Dylan Brooks and Ja Morant. The team was led by a little man called Jaren Jackson Jr. at the time. I disagree with the SSP. They're deep.
But these guys cannot be consistent enough pioneer. This is what happened to Maxey last year for Sixers, And this is what Harden brings to the team. Clutch time, crunch time. Maxey missed some shots at the end. He was playing good all season. But in the playoffs, if you watch back the game, he missed some really critical shots.
All right.
And that is where crunch time comes in with the real help. So that is what we mess up Grizzlies. They don't have consistent shooters.
I am high on this Grizzlies team, SSP. As I said, they play a fearless basketball. The leader is fearless. All right. They have. I want to remind you, SSP. This was the Grizzlies team that knocked off Golden State last year in the play-in to make it to the playoffs. So they have playoff experience. All right, it's not like this is a team.
They will beat a team or two, man.
But I'm saying to you, anybody sleeps. And remember, the West is not that strong, because we still don't know what's gonna happen with the injuries to Chris Paul. Draymond Green should be back, but Warriors is still a little wobbly. So in the West, for me, the Memphis Grizzlies is the number 1 dark horse. I have 2 dark horses in the West and 1 in the East. All right. The Clippers, I gotta mention the Clippers. I gotta put a caveat on the Clippers. They're not one of my dark horses. But if Kawhi and our Paul George comes back, The Clippers is going to be a formidable team. They're going to be a force to reckon with. But the other team I have as a dark horse in the West is the Dallas Mavericks. They have done something, and people feel like it's a one horse or one player team. They have done something under the coach that you just mentioned. They are playing defense on a whole different level. And we know that in the playoff, defense translates to offense in the playoffs. So if they can maintain this kind of defensive intensity, in the last, I think, month and a half, they are number one in defensive efficiency in the league. And that, for me, that counts for something. Luka is a whole different thing. There's nobody, I think Luka is the most unstoppable player in the NBA. And some people might misinterpret what I'm saying. He plays at a pace. He plays at his own pace. You can't slow him down. You can't speed him up. I rate Draymond Green for God, anybody in the NBA except Luka Doncic. Him can guard KD. Him can guard LeBron. Him can guard Harden. He can guard Giannis. But against Luka has always had his ticket. You can't speed him up. You can't slow him down. So come this playoff, Luka is going to be unstoppable. So for me, Grizzlies, Dallas in the West. I have slept on the Celtics. I've watched them the last week, and I'm saying to myself, this Celtics team can be a dangerous team come playoff time. All right, I don't know. Over the last two podcasts, I played them down, but I've watched them this week and last week, and I've kind of moved the needle a little bit on this Celtics team. They could make some noise in the East.
Not against the three top teams, man. Not against the three. They will outdo themselves, but they are just not there. These three teams, I think, separate themselves from the others.
I agree with you, in SSP. But I'm saying, if we're picking a dark horse, if I could see a team doing some damage, as a matter of fact, last week on this podcast, I actually said to somebody that I have the Chicago Bulls ahead of the Celtics. I'm reverting from that position right now. I am saying that after watching the Celtics about 2 or 3 games this week, I have changed my position and I'm saying the Celtics can make some noise. I want to welcome All Topics TV to the stream. Always with us, my brethren. We give thanks. Gentlemen, boy, them say time flies when you're having fun. Can't believe that we are an hour and 12 minutes in to the podcast. We're going to wrap it up now. It was good to have all 3 gentlemen on the podcast. I mean, I beg you, in this form, brethren. Let us do this again and do it again soon. Your basketball knowledge is for anybody watching. They can see that these panelists and basketball knowledge is on a whole different level. Zidane, even though we have differing views sometimes, my brethren, it's always good.
I want an hour to discuss Russell Westbrook greatness in terms of a point guard.
Let me answer that one question now, because I really want to know, because I wasn't on when he made the statement about Russell Westbrook. So I really want to ask him, how do you see Russell Westbrook in comparison to a person like John Stockton?
Oh, John Stockton is much better.
Okay. So we have done.
But you carry too far, national. You're talking about this player, man. Put them up against some of them who have them sure now.
Chris Paul, Magic Johnson.
No, don't put him against those.
All right, let's stick to the president. Donovan Mitchell.
Chris Paul to a lesser extent.
Donovan Mitchell.
No. He's not his strong. No, I understand. But as we said, I didn't hear what you said earlier.
Russell Westbrook is one of the 10 greatest point guards of all time. Top 10 all time.
Virgin, if I catch you, twist your neck.
So I promise you, we got that is listen up. So I promise you, we're coming back to that. Zidane, I got invite you. All right. Virgin. We're gonna discuss that. I got that statement is noted, my virgin. I got to print it in lights and put it in bold letters. And
yes, indeed.
I promise you, we're gonna do our podcast. We're gonna have SSP McGregor. And National will probably bring it back, and I'll probably bring back a couple. Since it's a one-topic discussion.
Yeah.
A couple of
yeah, I will go and research some empirical data to use.
Let me go flesh this thing out. The man said Russell Westbrook is undoubtedly a top 10 point guard of all time. But
you know something, Pioneer?
Yes.
This is separate from what you're talking about. I was looking at the athletics, and I got the feeling that our females going to dominate this year for the main reason that athletics is our best sports in Jamaica. And the kind of incubating thing that we have in athletics, it is playing out at the top level. I am not one of those that is worried about our next Usain Bolt because he's going to come because of what we are doing at the grassroots level. And the football people need to take a leaf out of the athletics book. If you go into any basic school now, Pioneer, you will find proper coaches, accredited coaches. They are putting in the finer points for the youngsters. So athletics will always grow. The counter is with football. The coaches can't cut it. They can't put together a proper game plan. They can't speak to the youngsters in our way. So the best time that our schoolboys have in football is when they are in school. If you look back at it, the best you get out of them is when they are in school. When they leave school, they go into the clubs, them start smoke weed, them get girls, and them just get totally distracted. No, but it's another point. So anytime you're ready, I like what
it's interesting that there is that we're working on we have, because we started last year in the Olympics. We have a track and field show that I am hosting also. And it is interesting because yourself and me and National are probably three of the most passionate track and field fans in Jamaica. So when that starts, though, you don't have to ask no question, I'll be calling up on you. But that's an interesting observation you just make.
Every time.
We can ask SSP one question.
Go ahead, National.
Yeah, SSP, you talk about the athletics a while ago. You said what we are doing from the grassroots level. You have no doubt that we'll see more Usain Bolts and stuff. I don't think it's the grassroots level is a problem. No? I think we have a problem when we reach the high school level and the champs level. I think too much of our potentially great athletes spend too much time in that window. You know, running 5, 6, 7. It's too much.
But don't worry about that. I'll stop you right away. Don't worry about that. If anything, it's just a few that will swim to the top. And we have so much that I don't see it as a problem. Let the kids play. No, man, let them play. The good ones will swim up. There are a lot of kids who just go abroad on scholarship to get abroad, Good athletes, They had no intention of running when they get abroad. They just wanted to go abroad. So don't predict their processes from now. There are a lot of youngsters, and if they don't swim up from Calabar, KC, or JC, they will come from Edwin Allen. They will come from that. The beauty of it. That is the beauty of it.
Gentlemen.
You're going to kill the competitiveness if you try to. You see, when they try to cut down these youngsters' involvement in school, it will kill the competitiveness, and it is the competitiveness that is bringing out the best in them. If you ask Usain and any one of those youngsters, even Shellyan, they'll tell you their best race was a champs. When they fuse the boys and the girls champs together for the girls to get the kind of attendance that the boys are getting. You see what came out of it? Shellyan, Ilian. They think bad, man. Don't worry about it.
No. I'm listening to you, gentlemen. Stick up it, National. Stick up it. I don't give it too much right here now. I listen to the two of you, gentlemen, right now, and I think I've come up with the first topic for the track and field show. And I tell you, I'm going to formulate this, and we're going to put it together for next week. We're going to have the first track and field show for the season, because I've been bombarded with requests. Because I did the Olympic podcast last year, and other persons complimented me on my picks and the whole thing. All right, so they have been getting a constant request for the track and field show to be restarted. You gentlemen have just given me the first topic that we're going to be discussing, and subjected to your availability, we're going to bring back both of you, and we're going to discuss how champs affects the long-term effect on our athletes go in terms of the matriculation from high school to
senior. Good topic. Because some people have some misconceptions that we're going to clear up. All right.
Gentlemen, we'll give thanks again and give thanks to Zidane for being on. For those out there in internet land viewing, this has been another in our series around the NBA. vibrant discussions. As you can see, the persons who we bring here are persons who are knowledgeable on basketball and sports in general. All right, that is why I say I am sure sports is probably the most credible and authentic and most substantive platform where sporting discussion is in Jamaica. All right, for I am sure sports, I'm Pioneer, and this has been another one in our series around the NBA. Thank you.